You need to share. If they bring 4 pieces and we're 4 people, each person gets a little piece.
This is why I like to order food for myself.
This is why we needed to make this video. The 5 things that every American should know before coming to Spain. And let's start with tapas.
I get tapas. Tapas are delicious. But at the same time, I like food. I like a big thing of food. And sharing policy that you guys have here is not, it's nice. But I need food.
I go to a restaurant and I want to try different things, but my stomach is not as big to have one of each. So the best solution for that is to ask things to share. So we order things to share and we all get a little bit of everything. If you like the huevos rotos more than the calamari, I'm so sorry.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. That sounds nice. But my stomach is big enough to handle big things. So when I'm hungry, if I'm only getting a little bit, I don't want a little bit.
Because you guys in America, in the United States, you eat like there is no tomorrow. Like, why you have to eat those huge portions of food?
Because we're growing boys and girls.
Inside of you.
I like the concept. I do like the concept of sharing food. And like, as you put it, testing different things. But I'm past the testing point. Now I want food. Now I want to eat. I know what I want.
Okay, so here's the problem that you have, because we do sometimes order like a big dish at the end of the tapas, but that plate is still to share. So
yeah, that doesn't, see, that part doesn't work for me because I'm hungry. I want to eat.
Because you eat so fast. That's the other thing. So the good thing about tapas is that it helps you pace yourself. So you eat slowly, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You drink, you ha ha ha. You know what I mean?
No. No, I don't know what you mean, because if there's, let's just say we're going out with friends and everything. If everybody orders the thing that they want, everybody's happy.
But what if I want a couple of things or 3?
Well, then you need to negotiate with whoever has one of those things that you want. Negotiate.
Listen.
What? Don't tell me like American and you don't negotiate with terrorists or something. Don't tell me that, because to me that's what we're doing with tapas.
That's what you wanna say. Listen, it's part of our culture, right? So everything we do is eat, drink, and socialize in Spain. I mean, we work, we do other things. This is a stereotype. But what I'm trying to say is that tapas is the perfect combination that shows you those 2 things: the socializing part and the gastronomy part.
I'm not following.
Do you want to know a little bit of the story of the tapas, the history of the tapas?
Not really, but because it doesn't change my perception on it.
Maybe if I give you the history of it, you get to understand a little bit.
I can guess what the history is. A lot of people didn't have a lot of food. This is where we share. We all ration it out.
Why you have to go so dark?
I'm guessing because that would be the only way to explain. Let's enjoy the bounty together. I got it. That's not the story?
No.
Okay, then educate
There's
me.
a lot of legends about the origins of the tapa. But tapa comes from the verb tapar. Tapar is to cover. Okay?
Okay.
We're good so far?
Good so far.
Okay. So they say that back in the century 13, the 13th century, how do you say that in English?
Century.
The 13th century, people will go to taverns, what we call bars now, or whatever. They will get their drink. And because there were flies and everything, because, Europe wasn't the cleanest place on earth during that time, they used to put either bread or cheese or any food to cover the drink so flies wouldn't go inside of the drink.
Okay.
That turned into, oh, I have some cheese, let me eat it and let me drink it. And that's how the whole thing evolved into always having something to eat and drink.
Okay.
On the other hand, because, if you think about all those movies that we have watched about, the Middle Age and the Renaissance and everything, people used to get like really drunk. Like they will sit down, drink, and like go crazy. So that was another strategy from the taverners back then, that in order to keep the customers for longer, spending more money, the best way was to give them a little bit of food so they could carry on with the drinking and the time and the eating. And so that's how it evolved to what today is. Which at the end of the day make us do the same thing, just spend money eating and drinking.
I follow that entire story and nothing about that story.
If you had a burger with a beer, what happened in the United States? You drink your beer, you eat your burger, and then you're out. The idea is that you prolong that. How do you do that? With little bites of food coming slowly to your table.
So you're saying if it was the US, what they should be doing is bring me a beer and bring me like a portion of the burger. And then when
If you can break that one burger
into
into
like
five,
four or
six
five pieces.
pieces, four no, four, five, six pieces, and then they slowly bring it to you, they will keep you in the restaurant for like 2 hours. Now,
No,
the
no,
thing
they
is that,
won't
in
keep me.
United States, they don't want you to stay in a restaurant for 2 hours. We do.
No, and also in the U.S., they wouldn't keep me for hours if they did that. I'm like, nah, I need to eat.
But
I need
if
no.
they
That's take
decide when they bring it, you can't eat it all at once. You have to wait until they bring it.
no. See, that doesn't work for me. That then I'm leaving the restaurant and I'm filing a complaint.
Of course you are.
Again, I followed your entire story, and nothing about your story says that we need to share this food.
So if you're coming to Spain, especially now that the tourism season is starting, or if you're thinking about relocating, you have to know that tapas is something that you're gonna see. Now, how are you going to experience tapas? You don't go to a bar and you say, "Hey, bring me some tapas." Oh, you could. But what you do is that in many cities of Spain, you ask for a drink, a beer, a vermouth, wine, tinto de verano. By the way, don't order sangria. That is like a tourist trap. But then you get one of the drinks, and the bar owner, manager, server, whatever, will bring you a plate with something. It can be as simple as a plate of olives, and then you say,
No, I don't.
to chips, to even plates of paella and burgers, and like it depends.
Let me summarize this long
Why
story
are you sweating? It's
because
April.
it's April. It's like what 28 degrees Celsius, not Celsius,
Celsius.
Celsius here,
Yes.
which is like what 80.
I don't know what it
It's
is.
hot.
It is
And
hot.
I decided to have a cola cow, which is also hot. I don't know why I did this to myself. To summarize your long story of doing that, to my fellow Americans, order a beer, and most restaurants here will bring you a tapa. That's just simple version of all what she just said.
I was
Order
giving
a
more
beer,
information.
order a beer, get a tapa. This way you can eat and you can enjoy. If you go by yourself, then the entire tapa is yours. You don't have to share it with anybody. I don't like going out to eat and either in leaving unsatisfied or feeling like I wanted more food, because then I'm like gauging how everybody else eat, and I'm the only American in the group, so everybody else is eating nice and slow, and I'm like, okay, I got to slow my pace down so I don't look like a freaking beast tearing through all the meals. So I'm like, okay, I'm just take a bite. Wait for somebody else to put their hand in there. Come on, somebody get some food so I can
You
go.
need to talk. If you talk, you entertain yourself.
I'm not trying to entertain myself. I'm trying to eat.
No, that's not
I didn't come here
it.
for entertainment.
What
I'll
kind
go
of
to a show
concepts do
for
you have? It's the same thing
food.
with the drinks. The moment that they bring him a drink, it could be anything. It could be a shot of vodka. It could be a colacao. It could be a coffee that he doesn't drink. It could be a beer. Any drink, anything. Para la prueba un botón.
Okay, there's not much in here, but I'm just sipping
The whole thing, he has finished it already, and I have only given like 2 sips to my coffee. You need to relax. This is the whole thing about being in Spain. Just relax, enjoy the moment, take one sip at a time, one bite at a time. That's the whole thing about tapas. For more information about tapas, the culture, and all these kind of things, we have created a totally free guide. I'm gonna put the link down in the description so you can go and literally in 7 easy steps, you can get accustomed to everything that you need to know, deep information about Spain.
I'm at the very tip of this cola cow, so I'm getting all the
The
resin,
colacao.
the cola cow.
Okay, let me ask you something. When you were looking at the place when you're like, I wonder how that over there tastes. I wish I could have a taste of that.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Next time.
Tapas.
No,
Or me das un cachito?
no. See, I understand, and that's probably because of how you've grown up. Like, hey, we're gonna share this. We have tapas. I grown up with knowing what the heck I want. So when I order steak, I want steak. When I order chicken, I want chicken. I'm not ordering chicken and looking at the steak and I'm like, oh, that looks nice. I should have that. No, or should I have a piece of that? No, I want chicken.
What if somebody else orders calamari? Don't you want that
Yeah, I
calamari?
want calamari. I always want calamari, but I didn't want it right now. What I want is chicken. And I'm saying the most worst thing to say as a black guy to want. But, but what I know what I want, and that's why I ordered it. I think other meals can look nice and delicious and everything, but for me, I don't want to take food away from somebody. And
But if you're sharing, you're not taking anything
that's
away.
how I feel because I know how much intake I can do. And if I don't get that intake, I'm gonna be an unhappy person. Nobody wants that.
You
You
just a
don't.
fat ass.
You know. The commercial is right. You're not this stuff when you're hungry. And if I'm having, and I see all this food, and all this food is on this table, and I still leave that table feeling like I didn't eat enough, I'm gonna be upset.
Then you just order more tapas, or you just,
Or,
something else.
or crazy idea. I can order my own plate of food.
You have, sorry, it's in your eye, and I feel like it's gonna go inside. Mira, this is Lucy's because it's black.
I can't even see it, but
So let me ask you another question because you mentioned something lightly, and I want to go a little bit deeper into that. When we get to a bar as a group,
mhm.
not you and I, but as a group of people, and we sit down, they don't usually take the order right
Oh, I
away.
go through a panic attack. Continue.
Okay, because we usually sit down, we more or less know what we want to drink, but it's, and then they bring you like whatever free tapas or whatever. But if you want to order something, it takes us as a group like 15 to 20 minutes to decide what is it that we're going to have.
Hmm.
And until we call the waiter or the waitress to place the order,
Hmm.
how do you go through that time and the conversations of, so what do we order? Do you guys want to share something? Yeah, let's order some tapas to share. Like when we go through all that process and we're like talking about what each individual person prefers, how do you deal with that?
I'll be honest with you, and you know this about me.
Oh, you tune out.
I tune out. I just complete. If the conversation, it takes a lot to keep me focused on some things, and conversations that I'm not following fully or that I don't feel a connection with, I tune out. I'm in my own world. Like, okay, what do I want? I've already decided what I want to within the first 2 minutes of looking at the menu. And you guys go through this back and forth like, oh, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? Do you want that? I already know just from dealing with you of asking you what you want to eat is going to be a journey that I am not prepared for. That I didn't come with my walking stick, some backup water, and an oxygen tank to go on this long journey with you. I already know that's what it is. So when I take another 3 or 4 other Spaniards with us to the table, I already know the journey I'm about to go on. It. Listen, we play Catan. I see how long it takes Mario to put a piece down to decide where he's going. Food is even worse. All of you, food is even worse. I'm like, okay, this is easy. And the part that gets me upset the most is the fact that they order the same thing every time. It's either going to be huevos rotos, croquetas,
Mm,
or
patatas
calamar,
bravas.
patata bravas. Pero, I mean, but they still take another 20 minutes to decide, well, what do you want? What do you think we should get?
Because maybe it's something else that somebody else wants to try.
The same thing in rotation?
Oh.
The idea of tapas is cool. I think that because it's a good way to try things, especially if you come into Spain. If you're not sure what things are when you look at this menu, because I've been there, tapas is a great way to like order something. Like, okay, well, I didn't spend too much money. I tasted it, not my thing, but let me try something else. That it's a great way to
Or if they bring it for
purvey.
free, it's
Yeah,
even better.
even better. Like if you order a beer and you get a topper, you can test it out, and then you can just ask them, "What is this exactly?"
Mhm.
So I know how to order. I think that is the power of the tapa. I don't think sharing them all with everybody and then you leaving like, I just sat down and ate like a
I
appetizer.
had the best ham in my life, and I only had one piece.
Yeah, yeah, that just
You order
kills.
more ham, period.
No, you don't order more ham because we're here on a time-based thing. If we're coming here as a tourist, we're here on a time. I don't got time to be
You
ordering another
just order
thing.
another tapa. Don't exaggerate.
No, I got stuff to do. I got places to be, things to see, and people to meet.
I'm gonna just
Bypass that
no. I'm gonna drop another good
tip.
tip. Thank you. Oh my god, I'm forgetting Spanish. I mean English. Another good tip for everybody: if you go by a restaurant and you see photos of food, just don't go in. Go to the next spot. Go around the corner. Go to a quieter street or something, because most likely there's gonna be a tourist trap. And the reason is because we don't see you don't we don't need to see photos of our own food. We know what each thing is. And while I understand that that could be very helpful for you guys because you haven't heard out of all these dishes that we have, they do that for tourists. So therefore those places are for tourists with tourist prices and with not great quality. So avoid the places with the photos. That wasn't one of the 5 things that we wanted to talk about because it is about lines in establishments.
Oh my gosh. They have lines here and there, but overall, no, no lines. And I've gr-
There are lines. Come
there
on,
there are
you're gonna find that one viewer that is gonna go into the comment section saying that's not true. We have lines in
no,
this.
no. Y'all don't have lines. That's not a natural order of things. Like, oh, everybody get in line. No, it's not a natural order of things here in Spain. It is not. Don't even that one person in the comments. No, it's not.
There's an order. There are places where there's physical lines because you have to get on a physical line for whatever street you
Because
are.
of the layout of the store, the
Yes.
street. But that's it.
However, when you enter the place, you pedir la vez. Pedir la vez is to ask who's the last one, like to get
Yeah.
an or to get a number, like you get a number, like in the meat shops,
Yeah,
right?
like
The U.S.
whether
is
you
the
go
same
to
way.
a meat shop, a bakery here in Spain, you'll go in there, and I this is the reason why I say it's okay and I like it, because the second someone walks in, they greet everybody.
Yeah.
What is it? Buenos
Hola, buenos
dias,
días.
yeah, and then they ask who's the last.
Yeah.
How do you say that?
¿Quién es el último?
Yeah,
¿Quién es
it's
la
el último.
última? Yeah, I mean, I think it's another way of socializing that we have, and it has to. I don't know the exact history of this, but it has to be from like small communities, small towns, small cities where we, used to know each other. The situation now is that there is a lot of newcomers, right? Whether because it's people that is moving to Spain or they're moving from cities, from smaller cities to big cities, from big cities to smaller cities, and so now we don't know everybody in the
I
town.
agree, but even so, there's not that big of a like argument when somebody like looks like they didn't know that this person was the last
Mhm.
person. It's like, no, he's next or he's next, and even when they can't decide, they still try to give that
They figure
person.
it out,
You
yeah.
figure it out. No lines. I'm cool with that because that's my background. I'm from Brooklyn, so we don't do lines
Oh
out there. And
Lord.
this is my
This is
first
a good
experience.
story. This
My
is a good
first
story.
experience, like when you live in New York and you waiting on the bus, we just crowd the bus door. So you get in where you fit in, and that's it. Once the door opens up, you better become like a linebacker and get your way in there.
Not
That
everywhere in New York City, though.
that's Brooklyn. When I got older and I moved out to Queens, it's about 9 p.m. I'm waiting to get on the bus because just got off of work and need to take the bus. It's cold outside, and I'm the third person there at the bus stop. The buses took forever.
That's always in
And
Queens.
and so then now there's a line of people, like 12 to 15 people. I stood back just like waiting because I didn't want to sit down at the bus stop. I'm just standing behind the stationary of it. And so now the bus finally comes, and I'm like, all right, let me get ready to get on the bus. And this old lady looked at me, she goes, the line's back there. And I'm like, the bus is right here. I'm getting on the bus.
How dare you talking to an elder like that?
It was too cold, too late. I was just finished working a 12-hour shift. I'm going home. I don't want to hear nothing about no line. I don't want to hear nothing about that. When I've
you,
been there for like 45 minutes waiting on the bus.
you know what's the sad part?
Ah,
I became that lady.
oh my God.
After
I
living in
understand.
Queens for so long and having to wait for buses, like I understand that, and I'll be the first one to get there and make sure that I'm in line and I'm like behind, and nobody's coming before me. Like if I see you coming before me,
Trying to cut the line. Of course,
my horns will
obviously,
come out.
now when I realized that, and I'm like, okay, this is what they do. They make lines out here. I had to call my mom that same night. I'm like, did you know they make lines for the bus out here in
In
Queens?
Queens.
And I'm like, but then I became like the old lady. I wish somebody would cut this line. They're gonna find a problem. They're gonna create a problem. But again, that was my reaction after figuring out lines. Here, even if you were, let's say, skipped over somebody, they'll let you know, oh wait, he was next, or he was right after you, or whatever the
Yeah,
case is. It's not like a big disagreement or like, well, the line's back there. There's no reaction like that.
no.
And even if you're someone that is a tourist and you don't necessarily speak the language, they will still like try to guide you on it, like,
Yeah.
well, this person was here, but they'll probably just let you go ahead of them anyway.
But it is important that you know what time you have to go so you can actually get inside of the place to make that line or to know which one is the last one of the place because stores are not necessarily open all the time. And I think we talked about this in our last video a little bit. Like everything goes around our social and eating time. So things are not going to be open during specific times. And that is like a unspoken rule everywhere.
I think you started off on a good point, but I think the more important factor is that you guys value your time.
We
You
do.
value the very minute. The very minute. So when the kitchen is closed, the kitchen is closed.
Yes.
You come 1 minute, 30 seconds after, nah, son, closed.
I mean, maybe they have like leftover
They'll give you,
tapas or
that'll
something,
be it, but they're
but
not
you
about
won't be
to,
able to order something off the menu to be made at that time because
yeah.
the kitchen is closed.
Say if you're just going shopping or whatever in the
Hmm.
store, and you're one of the people that get in there and the store closes at 10, but they lock the door, and you can finish your shopping and pay for it. Nah, 10 o'clock you get out the door. They're not playing. They're going home. 10 o'clock you out. There's not like this late. Oh, let me get this. Let me get this. And
No,
then
no,
like
no. We actually, and I know because I work in retail both here and in the United States, and here we immediately say we're about to close. If anybody wants to make a purchase, please go ahead to the register. The doors are closing, and we actually close the doors. Yeah.
because when it's time for the store to close, they're done. They're going home, or well, they're not going home. They're going to party. They're going to drink. They're going to meet up with friends. Again, it's important.
It is very important. You have plans to have
But see, that's the thing
dinner.
for Americans. We are used to like, oh well, the store will stay open like maybe 5 minutes. Oh no, I just gotta grab one more thing.
Not too bad. Come back tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning when
Well,
I
I get
open
on a
again.
plane tomorrow, so I gotta get it today.
Then too bad.
Uh
Duty free.
duty free. If you're like me, where you want to eat food at around 12, 1 o'clock, load up on tapas to carry you over. You can just get a bunch of
And
them.
then you won't have lunch, period, because you'll be so full that
No, no, no. They're American. They're still gonna have lunch. We still gonna have lunch.
you need your one
Nah,
meal
nah.
thing.
You ain't gonna tease us with a little bit of food and think we're not gonna eat. We gonna eat.
Your American, your Brooklyn accent
Yeah.
just came out like right off.
When it comes to scheduling, I think we're used to doing things in the afternoon time, and I think the problem is that by 12 o'clock we're looking for food, so we plan all our like excursions or things to do like between 10 and 11, between 10 and 12. So that when 12 o'clock comes, okay, we're gonna start looking for food,
Hmm.
and there's no food to be found. I think that's the biggest problem. So this way, if you know what times things are closing, if you know what you can plan to have, like instead of a big meal at 12 you're gonna have some tapas, then you can plan what your excursions are going to be. What are your like group trips
Hmm.
or your tours or anything that you're doing, how to kind of plan your day, because I think that's what is very frustrating. Like for me,
Yeah.
it was frustrating, and I'm not here on a set time.
Yeah, you're
So
not a tourist. You're not here for
right.
like
So
2 weeks or 1 week or whatever.
exactly.
Oh, another thing that I think it's important, and hopefully you don't need to necessarily go physically to a bank, but if you do need to go to a bank, just know that banks in Spain closes at 2 p.m. from Monday to
Oh my
Friday.
gosh, that is like I should work in a bank.
And we do not work on Saturdays in banks. There's no bank at all that will be open on a Saturday or
Really?
Sunday.
I thought the one in Beniel was open on
And
Saturday.
Beniel, sorry.
It wasn't? No?
Beniel is a really small locality
Yeah.
in Murcia, really
It's a
closer
very
to
it's a
Alicante
very small town. Like if you ran at full speed, you can run through the entire
in 10
town
minutes.
in maybe less.
Yeah, it's really tiny. And so like the traditions and the customs and everything in that little town are like strict. Like you will never find a laundromat open on a Saturday over there.
No, that's not true. The laundromat that we found was open on Saturdays. I think it was actually open on Sundays too. It was a 7 day a week
Which
laundromat.
one?
The only one that we went to. I think it's the only
The
one.
only one.
I think it's the only one in the
Exactly.
town. Right next to the basketball court I used to go to.
Ah, yes. But why?
I don't know. It was open. That's all I know.
Because there's nobody working in there. It's a self-service, autoservicio.
Hey, but it was open,
But
and
there was nobody in
but if
there.
a small town can have that kind of laundromat,
Okay, there
then
is no banks, is what I'm trying to say on the weekends. But banks have their own schedule within the schedule. So if you need like to go and pay for something, you can only do it from like the hours of 9 to
oh
11. And then if you need to make a complaint, you can only go from
yes,
11:30 to 12:30.
yes, that's a whole video by itself.
Yeah.
The drama of everything of like me getting my residency and dealing with how we had to do things at the banks, going through all the bureaucracy. That one's coming soon. That one's
Yeah,
coming soon.
that's coming soon. And we are also offering services about relocation. So if you're thinking about coming to Spain, if you have tons of questions, we have tons of answers for you. And we'll help you with the bureaucracy and with all these kind of things because, we have a lawyer that is a fantastic lawyer, and we have a lot of people that give us support here. And I speak the language, and I know how complicated and bureaucracy is here. And still, we had tons of
It
issues.
is.
Imagine if you are coming just by yourself without knowing the language, without knowing anything. Like, it would have to be so frustrating.
No, it is frustrating. Now it could be. It is frustrating.
Now, the other thing that I keep seeing in this freaking reels on Instagram. The amount of
I
American people that complain about we don't drink water in Europe. And they say that in Europe, Europeans don't drink water. No, we
well,
do drink water.
can I just say, as an American that is married to you, I've heard you numerous times saying we don't have water in Europe.
Okay,
So,
but yes,
so
and what I'm saying is that we are a dry continent because we're such an old continent. It's true that the resource in general, the resource of water is like in a critical condition. That's why we take care of our resources. We don't throw water like there is no tomorrow. And when you sit down in a restaurant, you're not going to be greeted with a glass of water. Just not because we don't have water, it's because it's not our custom. We don't do that. We don't bring a glass of ice with water. So if you're expecting that, yeah, you're not going to get that. Now, do you always have to pay for water? No. But know that not in all the regions of Spain, you're actually going to get good tap water.
it's funny to see the reels about the water thing because even when we get water in the US, it's very rare that we actually drink it because we don't even
Well,
trust it at time.
that's my other thing. Like I get like upset because I'm watching these reels about Europeans don't drink water, but I lived in the US for 15 years and yes, they welcome you with water and I have not seen anybody, I mean, I'm lying. I have seen people drinking the water, but as a regular rule, nobody drinks that water.
No, it's like once we get the water, we're like, okay, we just put it to the side like that. That's it. It's just there because then we order our soda or our beer or whatever it is that we're really gonna drink, and the water is just like the backup. Like if I finish my food and my drink, but I don't want to order another drink, then I take a sip of water so that I
Mhm.
can just wash everything down before leaving.
If you
It's
want some water and you don't want to pay for it, the way that you order in a restaurant is un vaso de agua.
un vaso de agua.
Sí, so un vaso of water,
Yeah, just a glass of
a
water.
glass of water.
But
So
they're not gonna charge you for that.
if you ask un vaso de agua, no. But if you ask just for water,
Water.
oye, ¿me puedes traer agua? O nos traes una botella de agua, you have to pay because
It's
then
a
that's
bottle.
assume that they will bring it in a
A
bottle.
bottle. Okay.
And now we usually just have still water. If you want water with gas, no, how do you call it? You don't call it like that
A
anymore.
seltzer.
If you want a seltzer or like something like that, then it's agua con gas.
And even the water that you bring, it doesn't have ice in it.
No,
That's
why?
what do you mean why? What do you mean? You just told
No,
me how hot it gets in the summertime. So if I'm gonna ask for water, you're not gonna bring me ice with it?
no, then you ask, ¿me puedes traer un vaso con
I don't
hielo?
need to ask you out here with me burning in hell. Why don't you bring me some damn ice?
You're crazy.
No, no the person that don't bring ice when it's death outside and you sitting here with this hot thing of water. Like
It isn't hot,
it's what?
cold.
It's not cold.
It's not freezing cold like you're
No, 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 no.
accustomed,
Well,
but
what do you think I want?
I don't know what you want. That's why you ask for what you want. Well, once again, why do waiters have to be mind readers? They're
You
not
don't
mind
have to be
readers.
mind readers, but I shouldn't have to tell you it's hot outside. I ordered water to refresh myself, not water to blend with me, not to swim.
Bear with me. Listen, in summertime, I drink hot coffee. Why would somebody assume that I want ice with my coffee?
Because it's hot. And don't give me this. You drink hot coffee.
I do though.
Then you wouldn't be drinking beer. You drink beer in the summertime, and why? Because
And
it's
in the
freezing
wintertime too.
cold. It is freezing cold.
But I don't expect them to bring me
Yes,
ice with my beer.
you do it because you expect the beer to be freezing cold. You know it's going to be cold. So if I ask for water, I should know that it's going to be cold. Not sitting here drinking tea. I didn't ask for tea. I asked for water.
Tea. Where are we? In Great Britain?
Oh my gosh, that made me. I'm with the American. I'm with my people on this one. Oh my gosh.
Ask for what you need. Do you want water with ice? Then ask for un vaso de agua y un vaso con hielo.
How about
O dice, me traes un vaso de agua con hielo. And then they know that they have to bring you ice in a cup with water.
let me ask you a question. If I was to order a steak in a restaurant, what would they ask me?
How would you want to?
Okay, then. So why can't you ask me how I want my water?
Because water is water.
Exactly. So bring some freaking ice.
Just know that's our fourth point. And talking about temperatures, I think this is the perfect moment to talk about AC and heaters.
It really isn't.
Warm weather is coming. We're at the end of April and it's right now 24 to 28 degrees the entire week. I know in the US, in summertime, I always have to carry a little jacket with me. Why? Because it gets freaking cold anywhere inside. In the trains,
Isn't that what
in
you
the
want though?
train when the AC is working, it's really cold. In restaurants, in supermarket, oh my god, supermarkets, shopping centers, Macy's, all these places get extremely cold because you guys put your AC at a super low temperature. And again, I work in retail, so I know the reason why of this. It is said that the higher standard the retailer is, the colder it is, or the warmer it is, depending on what season you
Right.
are. So, like if you go to Saks Fifth Avenue, it's going to be colder than if you go to a Walmart.
You want that cold air when it's hot outside. You want that cold air. The same way I want ice. I want some cold air. I want to be fresh when I'm shopping. I'm already walking through this humidity and heat just to get to this store. And when I get to the store, I gotta shop uncomfortable and sweating and smelling like wet ass. Like, no, I want some AC.
Okay, so I need you to learn this thing so you can understand our mindset. We believe that we get sick, like throat sick and things, because of the AC.
Ah,
Therefore, we don't, even if we have AC at home, we don't necessarily use it unless it's really, really hot. And I'm talking about 40 plus degrees hot, 35 plus degree hot. We don't use it. And if we use it, we just put it to a certain temperature. So it doesn't really get cold, it just gets more
comfortable.
livable. We don't sleep with AC. Like that's just a concept that, and I'm not saying, I'm sure people do it, some people do it, but as a general rule, we don't. There is actually a law passed by the ministries here in Spain that in public places, the temperature in summer cannot be
That's
below 27, and in wintertime, it cannot be above 23 Celsius. Now, while there is not a legislation for usage in your home, and you can do whatever you want in your home or in your
But you
Airbnb,
still get fined, don't you?
in your house, no,
So
because they can't really control it. But the way that you get fined is by the bill.
because it goes being as you so
It's
much.
extremely expensive,
Even in
central
our
air,
in our old apartment that we were in Benial, there it was a 3 bedroom, zero AC,
in none of
zero
the
in
rooms.
any of the rooms.
Or heater for that matter, because also that's another thing
Yeah,
that you
that's not
have
heat.
to keep in mind. Like, depending on the region that you go in Spain, you'll see more off or less off.
But I think that another key factor is the fact that some of these old apartments, like our apartment in Benial, it was it gets cold. Like the insulation in that apartment was horrible.
Yeah, because we're not, our homes are not accustomed to extreme cold
Yeah,
in the
well,
south.
well,
Like, it's
the good
not.
part was that at least it kept the house kind of cool even in the summertime. But after a while, when the temperature really kicks in, like in
It
the
gets really
middle of
hot.
the summer and you're going through a heat wave, it gets hot no matter what.
Hmm.
But there are parts of the house that still stays cool, which doesn't help you in the wintertime, especially if there's no heater. So you have to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
There's actually a lot of reels. Again, these things get pushed to me because I keep seeing them.
do you think that your social media just push them to you, like they show you, oh, dopamine, 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 frustration? Like that's you don't think it does that?
Probably. But there is a lot of like foreigners, especially Americans, that have moved to Spain, and they make this reel of winter time in Spain. And outside they are with a light jacket, the sun is hitting them, they're fine. And then they go inside of their houses and they have to put coats because it's colder inside. And this is not an exaggeration, this
It's
is
true.
true life.
It is
You
true.
go inside of your house and it's colder than outside.
So expect that in the wintertime if you decide to come. You better have some blankets with you or whatever Airbnb or hotel you stay at, you better ask for more.
Yeah.
Ask for more blankets.
Anyway, this is the perfect time to do the segment of Explain It to Me. We're closing our video, but before we have to give you this vital information that you cannot miss. And it comes about the AC, the heat, and everything else. I understand that the Spanish that you guys learn in the US is kind of broken Spanish.
Right.
And I know that the word that you use for heat is caliente. Am I right?
Yeah, caliente. That's kind of like because of music videos. This is one of the words we always hear, caliente.
Yeah, but one thing is that you say caliente, and another thing is that you say estoy caliente. Do not say estoy caliente. No, estoy caliente means other thing. If you want to say that you're hot, like in I'm hot, tengo calor. You have heat.
Never get tired of that. I have heat. I have heat.
Heat.
I have heat.
Just like I have hunger, I have cold. We have. You're not because you're not embodying that.
So you have it. You
You
have
have
the.
it.
You have hunger. Tengo hambre. Tengo calor.
Tengo hambre, tengo calor, tengo frío, tengo
Okay.
43 años.
And estoy caliente.
Estoy caliente in. It depends on where you are in the country that they speak Spanish and they utilize this, but it could equal to I'm horny. So don't go around saying you're horny. In Spain, the word that we always use is salido. Estoy salida. That literally means I'm horny. But anyway, just don't say estoy caliente. Say tengo calor. Tengo calor. Uf, qué calor hace.
¿Qué calor hace?
Qué calor hace. It's so hot.
I can't say I'm hot in Spanish. Like I can't say estoy caliente.
No.
Can I say estoy calor?
No, tengo calor.
Yeah, but if I want, I can't. I know I can't.
But
say
you're
estoy.
not.
But
That's
if I
not who
don't,
you
I'm
are.
just saying, will people understand if I was to say that instead of
No.
no, still be bad.
They'll laugh.
Okay.
Just like the time that you talked to my mother on the phone and she asked you,
Hi.
¿Cómo estás? And you said,
Estoy
Estoy bueno, muy bueno. Another no, estoy muy bueno means I'm really hot, like sexy, like I'm hot. No, you will say estoy bien, no estoy bueno.
Pero estoy bueno. Es verdad.
Estás muy bueno.
Gracias.